Why are engine oils so thin nowadays? Back in the days, we had monograde engine oils, only one viscosity. If you had an old Mustang, you had to use 40 monograde or 50 monograde engine oil, which was basically mineral oil, and you had to change it every 2,000–3,000 miles. Then we got to multigrade engine oil. We had 10W40, 20W50, and we went all the way to 5W40 and 5W30. I think 5W30 is the most used oil around the world. In fact, I think 5W30 is the most used engine oil around the world. Maybe in Canada or in the north of USA, maybe we have 0W30 or 0W40 or 0W20 engine oils. But that's another story. 0W engine oils are actually good for your cold starts, for your turbo. It reduces wear, and some car manufacturers switched from 5W30 to 0W30. That includes BMW and Volkswagen Group. Okay, so 5W30, that's an average viscosity multigrade engine oil. But now we have 0W20. As I said earlier, we have 5W20, we have 0W16. That's the engine oil that I'm using in my Toyota Camry, which has a 2.5 hybrid engine. It runs on an Atkinson cycle, so it also has a high compression ratio, and oil needs to be pumped as fast as possible to the moving parts when the engine stops and goes all the time. So you need a really thin oil. If you use a 10W40 in a Camry, which is hybrid, in just a few months I think you will completely destroy the engine. It's a really bad idea to use a thick engine oil in an engine which requires a very thin oil. The lubricating pipes, the lubricating circuit is downsized, and it's meant to be for a certain viscosity, a certain type of engine oil. If you put an engine oil which is too thick, you will completely destroy the engine from two reasons. One, you will not have enough lubrication because the oil will flow slower, and you will have less cooling because oil also cools the moving parts. So if the engine oil moves slower because it's too thick, it means that besides not having the right lubrication, you will have less cooling, which means that the engine will accelerate its wear and tear, and eventually it will fall apart. That's why it's extremely important to use the oil which the manufacturer recommends. Not necessarily the original OE engine oil. It doesn't have to be a Toyota oil for a Toyota, or a Honda oil for a Honda, or a BMW oil for a BMW. It has to be the oil with the viscosity and the specifications written in the owner's manual. Then you can take those specifications and put it in whatever oil configurator you want, any brand, any product you want, but it has to meet those specifications. I actually have a shop in Romania where I sell engine oils, products, filters, and cosmetics for vehicles. Maybe you should come one day and visit it. We sell Liqui Moly and Ravenol. Both brands are from Germany, and all their engine oils are manufactured completely and exclusively in Germany. Okay, so why do we have so many thin oils? Because we just talked about the evolution of the engine oils, of their viscosity. Well, the first main thing is downsizing, because we don't have any more 4 liters all over the place, 3 liters, 2 liters. We have 1 liter engines, 1.5 liter engines, okay, 2 liter engines, and a few 2.5 liter engines. The problem is that these engines that we have now are turbocharged, they have direct injection, huge pressures, huge running operating pressures, and they develop hundreds of horsepower. You get a 1.6 turbo engine from Ford, which has 200 horsepower. Back in the days, we had a 4.6 V6 engine from Ford Mustang, which had 200 and something horsepower, naturally aspirated, low compression ratio, old technology. We have a 2.9 V6 twin-turbo engine, which develops 500 horsepower, from Alfa Romeo, which had the engine tuned by Ferrari. We have the 4-liter twin-turbo V8 on the Lamborghini Urus, which develops nearly 800 horsepower. So the main reason for having so thin oils are the following. Downsizing. Emissions. Having a thinner oil requires less friction to move the oil around the engine, which means less CO2, less fuel wasted. To be honest, the difference between a very thin oil and a 5W30 or a 5W40 oil, the difference is around 0.2 to 0.5 liters fuel consumption per 100 kilometers. I don't know exactly how that converts to MPG. Manufacturers, especially in Europe, are forced to use these engine oils, especially because of environmental issues, fuel economy, and in normal driving conditions, it lubricates the engine a little better because it runs to all the moving parts a little bit faster. And it also boosts cooling because it runs faster, so it cools the components a little bit faster than a thicker oil. However, these thin oils can actually destroy your engine in case you are running very fast, very aggressively, or on a racetrack. If you go on a racetrack, you need a thick oil. Nissan GT-R has a 10W50 or a 10W60 engine oil. BMW M3 once had for its E92 a 10W60 oil. Maserati, I think, has also a 10W60 oil for its Trofeo engines. So if you have a really powerful engine and you want to go fast or on a racetrack, a thin oil will not provide the lubrication you need in those conditions. So thin oils are just fine if you have a decent engine, a medium-sized engine, and you just drive around town. You're delivering stuff, you're cruising on a highway, not going aggressively. Going aggressively will require a different oil. If you're using a thick oil meant for sports driving in a vehicle which was not meant for sports driving, and you're driving it slowly, you will destroy the engine. So it's not good in either case. It's just fine to respect, to follow the manufacturer's recommendations. And based on that and based on your needs, you should choose the optimal engine oil. I can give you one more tip before ending this video. If you are using a 5W40 or a 5W40 and you want some extra protection for your cold starts, start using a 0W30 or a 0W40. Your engine will be just thankful. I hope you found this video useful. Please like this video, it really helps the algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode.